So many years ago, I came across this new technology. And for those of you who know me, I've always been very, very intrigued and interested in everything around health, for a number of reasons. April, I see you here. How you doing? And we had a little conversation around the reasons, that's important. In my past, my mother actually did pass away of breast cancer when I was 15. And so I've always had a little bit of an interest in this space. And I came across this interesting technology called thermographic technology. I'm going to mess it up and butcher it, and then Dr. Hillary will tell us more about it. But there's a lot of things that affect women, a lot of things that affect our health, our breast health that, men, do not necessarily have the same impact. And there's some things that we have to do because, we're super fly women that, some men don't have to do. They don't have to have kids. They don't have to have the monthly up and down. They don't have to have, their boobies smashed, like tortillas or something, like a pizza. They don't have to get smashed, a couple times a year a few times every few years to make sure that everything is good in this space. But it is really, really super important. And so I did my research and I looked around, and then I heard of this thing and I was like, what is it? Just the technology. So we're going to start off by talking about the technology around thermography, and then we'll talk about how this technology is used in a proactive way to, kind of screen and, kind of take health into your own hands, along with other things that you can do. And this is all around breast health. So I will start off by introducing Dr. Hillary here, and then, her lovely Vanna White. Hi there. And so what we want to talk about is a little bit about thermography, a little bit about you, Dr. Hillary, because you've been doing this for a very long time. So first of all, tell us about you and your background in health, and then tell us, we can kind of stream into the whole technology conversation.
Great. Thanks, Rosie. Thanks for having us. And this is Nora Fasano. She's my senior technician, and she does a lot of scans. She's been with me for a long, long time.
11 years.
11 years. And yesterday was her wedding anniversary for 10 years. So I got her when she was just a kid. Anyway, so like you, my mother had breast cancer. And I was older. It wasn't that trauma of losing your parents so young, but my mother already had dementia when she was diagnosed. So it was a layer of horribleness. And so like you, like other women who have a mother that had breast cancer, we're kind of fed that we are at risk. There's a big pink ribbon campaign, which does really do nothing to help women. It's sort of a corporate gig. That money does not go toward prevention. And so I was looking for something for myself to be proactive, because I had mammograms, but I knew that when I went in for a mammogram, maybe that day I was going to get bad news. And I had reasons that I just wasn't comfortable with the compression and the radiation for myself based on my history, and started to look around. I was already a holistic chiropractor. I've been practicing since 1985 as a holistic chiropractor, and also doing functional medicine, nutrition. I did some energy medicine in my chiropractic practice, like cranial sacral, and I also received a doctorate in homeopathic medicine. So I have a very wide background. And so I found out, like thermography, like you did, doing my own research, but there was nobody around doing it. And in June, on Nora's birthday, we'll be celebrating our sweet 16 years of offering thermography in our practice. And we actually have transitioned into doing purely wellness and thermography. So the thing about thermography that's so brilliant is that we are looking at early changes. So I say it's like a GPS for your health. It's a screening. Are we moving in the right direction? Are we stable or are we veering off? And then do we want to get back on the right track and correct? This is something thermography can help us with, but mammography or any test of anatomy, which would be ultrasound, a clinical breast exam, MRI, which are all, those are great tests to look at anatomy, but thermography looks at physiology. So you don't already have to have something, things don't happen overnight. As a chiropractic analogy, we would see people that have arthritis and we know they weren't fine one day and then all of a sudden they had severe arthritis. No, that was a process. And that is the same thing with changes in our breast health. It's a process and we want to see the changes early on, make lifestyle changes, and then monitor someone to see them get back to health. So that's what thermography can offer. And for many women who worry about breast cancer or breast disease, having a way to look into the future to monitor your health, it gives you peace of mind. That reduces your stress. Reduce stress, increased health. So the technology is a camera. It's an infrared camera. And the camera that we use is very specific for medical. It has only an 8-degree range. So each pixel of temperature is very sensitive. It's sensitive to 1/100th of a degree. So we've chosen this Meditherm camera because we don't want to use a camera, an industrial camera that some medical thermographers use because the range is very wide. We want it to be very specific to the human body. And the interpretations are done looking at the temperatures in the pixels. And all of our interpretations are done with the medical doctors that we work with that are all thermologists, and they're looking at this very specific, sensitive software.
So let me pause.
Yeah.
Lots of information that we just covered there. So I want to kind of make sure that we capture.
Break it down, Rosie. Break it down.
Break it down, lady. I'm
break it down. And do you want to roll the camera?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Nora's going to roll the camera over. By the way, this camera only picks up the heat that's coming off the body. It doesn't put anything in. So it doesn't matter if people have metal in their body or, yeah. So this is the camera. This is the infrared camera.
So I'm going to give you guys a little, just my own, simple version. So we go into the office. I think it's actually the office I've been in there. You walk in there. You get naked, not just kidding, you have this robe on, and then,
you change into a gown. We respect your modesty. Just because you like to walk around naked, Rosie, not everybody wants to.
Oh, okay. So we change into the gown, and then once we change into the gown, we put the hair up so that we get a good view. We actually cool down. So that, because, you're driving around, walking around, you're radiating heat. We cool down for, 15, 20 minutes. And then we sit in front of the little stool that you see there on the camera, right there. And then we have different angles. And so my explanation of what we do, which is not medical, but basically the camera is sensing, the heat down to like the tiniest little milli, whatever, the areas of your body. That reading or that picture is then sent to a thermographer, which is a very specialized a designation for an individual. It's a specialty. That person then looks at the charts, looks at the graphs down to like a super microscopic level, and it's, first of all, the first time you do it, it's forming kind of like a baseline picture, like this is you. Right? This is your picture, kind of like your DNA stamp. This is you. This is you. And then the next time you go, it's like, oh, this is still you. And then the next time, this is you. What it's looking for is, how is the you varying? How are the breasts, or how's the reading of heat changing? And when you do see, or when you come across that there are changes in the heat areas, or the areas in your breast, that there's a difference of the heat patterns, that's when it's kind of like you're looking into the future, where you're like, hey, side note, something's going on here, you might want to look into it. And then the patient then, like me, in this case, I would then look into it further in whichever way I saw fit, right? So it's getting a look inside to see what's going on a little bit ahead of time. And so without diverting too much, I did want to point out something that I thought was impressive. Dr. Hillary, one of the first things I did is I took a picture of that chart that you have behind you, which shows the reading. So I don't think we talked a lot about that, but I don't know if you have it up on a screen and we do a share screen, or you want to just pull it. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, postcard. Is this?
Yeah,
how does that look?
Oh, wait, stop right there. So if you guys look at this chart shows you that like 8 years of, 8 years, 7 years, 5 years, 4 years. This is where you can detect changes of heat pattern or cancer cells. Is that correct? Can you elaborate on this?
Okay, so we wouldn't say cancer cells because we're following health. We're not detecting cancer.
Okay.
Only a biopsy can actually detect cancer. So even if something is suspicious on a mammogram or an MRI, you never really know until you have a biopsy.
Okay.
But like we were talking about, it's a process. When we start seeing, when cells start to duplicate, we see a change within 2 years because we're looking at a pre-structural change. Whereas in the mammogram, it has to have had enough cells that it's actually a thing to see. I wonder if we have, you know what, I wish we had that one progression.
So basically,
We may be able to show you something interesting.
It's almost like if you were going to plant like a garden, or you had a bare piece of land, and then you came back a year later and you're like, oh, you know what? There's, it looks like there's like some weeds growing here, right?
Yeah.
And then like 5 years later, all of a sudden it was like a watermelon plant or something. Like, it's being able to kind of just look at changes ahead of time, and then when you start analyzing and go deeper into those changes, then you'll have to kind of take the steps at that point. But what I really like what you said, Dr. Hillary, is that I do this once a year. Ever since I've done it every 6 months too. Anytime I just kind of wanted to do extra stuff. This thing doesn't have any radiation. It doesn't have any side effects. It's not injecting any chemicals.
We don't touch your body. We're just taking a picture of you. Yeah.
So it's just another layer for me personally, Dr. Hillary, and for those of you guys that are out there in Facebook world, it's just another layer of peace of mind, and a proactive way. So for example, I take B12. I don't have to take B12. I'll be fine if I don't take B12, but this is another way that I take care of myself. This is different. It has a different reason, but it's super important, so that you start taking a proactive approach towards your breast health.
So I'm going to see if we can see this. One thing people do is they have their blood labs done every year. And so they're looking at their glucose levels. So if their glucose goes high or their A1C goes high, it's a good test to ask your doctor to run on you. Then you think, oh, I need to eat less carbs. I need to exercise more because I don't want to get diabetes. So then you don't have diabetes, but you found out, oh, my blood sugar is going up or my A1C is kind of high. So I'm going to change my diet and then I'm going to test again. That's kind of what we're doing with thermography, where we're looking at the baseline you've established. We want to see that thermal fingerprint remain the same. And if there is a change, depending on how severe it is, we may ask you to have further testing, which could be, a lot of our people just decline having a mammogram. I got nothing against a mammogram. Many people decline, they don't want it. And so we will send them for a breast ultrasound. And as long as we know there's nothing actually anatomically there, we're still in this in-between clinical, between having a change and having a problem. Then people can work on their hormones. A lot of times people are estrogen dominant. But I was going to try to show you this. I wonder if, can you see it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, let me see where I'm starting. Okay, so this was a 38-year-old woman, and that was her in the beginning. And then when she came back in 3 months, I'm doing this upside down, so forgive me. When she came in 3 months, she had a change. And at that point, she had a mammogram and there was nothing there, but she was continued to be followed every 3 months with thermography. And you can see that it really changed a lot. And so she was going to get another mammogram, but they said, well, it's only been 9 months since your last mammogram. So come back in 3 months. And she's like, no, 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 do it now. And then it was big enough to visualize it on the mammogram, but so small, she just had to have that lumpectomy.
So this is really important. I love this screen because it's doing exactly what you're saying. It's just kind of detecting changes. You don't get a chance to see inside your body. By the way, thermography, from what I saw, it can be used in different parts of your body. It's not
Whole body.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
But it shows you, and the reason and the psychology behind, or not the psychology, the physiology behind this, if I'm not mistaken, is that when you start looking at heat patterns, it means that heat is drawing to an area. Is that, or something like that?
Well, in the breast, it could be blood vessels that are growing. It's called angiogenesis. Blood vessels have to grow when somebody has cancer to bring enough nutrients because there's such rapid duplication of the cells. But there's another kind of breast cancer that never has a lump called inflammatory breast cancer, which is, it's a bad diagnosis because it's usually caught really late. And with thermography, we can actually see it because we see heat or inflammation. Fun fact, Hippocrates, way back when, oh, thanks, Nora. She is my Vanna White. Put mud on his patients and said where it dries first, that's the problem because it's hot. So with the breasts, and because they're exterior, we can see the blood vessels. We see things differently that represent on the skin from the organs. But this is like a normal breast picture. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
I know there's a little bit of a glare. This, you see how this is, so the blues and blacks are the coldest, green is neutral. I can't see, so let me. So this one, you can see how this looks like blood vessels, right? The one breast is very neutral. And then this is men get breast cancer too. This is a man. This is a DCIS where you can see the tumor looks like a normal color, but all that blood around it, that's a sign of a suspicious thermography. But here's the inflammatory breast cancer, which goes on the whole breast, and you wouldn't see it because it's the lump. But for us, we can see it because it's inflammation or increased heat.
Okay. So this is like a lot of really good information, just period, on some of the different things that can happen. And there's a lot that can happen. There's so many factors that are involved. Obviously, guys, sometimes we do some of these presentations and, we're talking about something in the real estate space and all that stuff. But when we have a doctor in the house, or, this is a different conversation. This is very much about information. And I'm hoping if you guys are watching that, you take this in and apply whatever is helpful. And speaking of applying what's helpful, what are some things that that do affect breast health, like deodorant, maybe? Because I know that I've changed a few things since.
Okay. So I would say the primary thing is that we live in an estrogen dominant society, and estrogens make things grow. And most people, and even really, really young girls, they have a lot of estrogen in their body because it's in the foods. They give, the bovine growth hormone to make the dairy products. That's just to keep those cows, just going. And plastics are, they're like, it's called an endocrine mimic. So the body might think it's estrogen. Many chemicals that are used to preserve cosmetics are also these estrogen disruptors. So we do see this increased heat in people with estrogen. Birth control pills are not a no-brainer. I need these young girls to understand that. Lupron or these other things that just stop you from having a period, that's not natural. So we want to let our body, the innate intelligence of the body, have a chance to heal itself. So what are things that people can do to have more? Well, you could do saliva testing and use herbs to balance your estrogen, your progesterone, but do not drink out of plastic bottles. And don't tell me I didn't leave it in my car, it's fine. I had it in the refrigerator. Because people think until you heat up that BPA in the plastic bottle that it doesn't leach into the water. Guess what? The guy who had it in his truck and put it on the and loaded it to go into Smart and Final, he didn't keep it in his refrigerator. It already happened before you got it. You need to drink clean water, and you should have a water filtration system, and then you should put it in stainless steel that's food grade or glass. Listen, we've all had to carry a plastic bottle now and then for convenience, but it should not be how you drink your water. Also, I don't know how it is in Downey, but here in LA County, they do add fluoride to the water. Fluoride is a very toxic chemical, and it competes on the cells with iodine. And iodine is very productive, preventative for many things. Remember, I don't know, you guys probably don't remember, but we used to put iodine, like if we had a cut or a scratch, and even before my time, way, way back, they used to actually diffuse iodine in the air to kill viruses and bacteria. So the fluoride is very toxic to the body. So you should get the fluoride out of your water by using a filtration system that will do that, and then do not use toothpaste with fluoride. That's important. Microwaving, don't microwave your food, and don't cook your food in plastic, and don't use Teflon. Stainless steel or some of these new ceramics are clean, but look for clean products. Environmental Working Group, it's called ewg.org. They have a whole website where you can look up your own cosmetics or ingredients in your cosmetics to see if it's safe. But the phytates and the parabens that we are exposed to like 200 chemicals before we get dressed in the morning, between makeup, lead, shampoo, the water. So try to clean up your environment. As you know, people went really crazy during COVID with cleaning stuff, right? You can clean with vinegar. You can disinfect with hydrogen peroxide, baking soda. Look into using natural cleaning products. All these things are cumulative, and they do affect our breast health. Vitamin D. The normal for vitamin D when you go to a regular doctor would be 30. And so if you have a regular lab and they tell you your vitamin D is low, it's really low, because in functional medicine, we want to see your vitamin D at least 60. That is very, okay. Some people say it's been protective for COVID, and it's definitely important for breast health. And people that are working with naturopathic oncologists, they try to get their vitamin D up to 80. So vitamin D has so many benefits. It's an inexpensive vitamin. Be sure to take that. It should be vitamin D3. And if you can get it with K, that's even better. Okay, so we don't want to increase our estrogen. Try to eat organic foods. If you go on Environmental Working Group, they always have a dirty dozen and a clean dozen. That shows you, hey, what foods are safe to eat, even if they're not organic. Things like broccoli that have a lot of sulfur in them, they already repel the insects so they don't have to spray it as heavy. And then there are other thin skin things like a plum or a grape or strawberries. Never, ever, ever eat a conventional strawberry. So then, you know, listen, I can get away with going conventional with these foods, but organic foods, definitely organic dairy if you're going to do dairy, clean water, don't microwave. And now let's talk about the deodorant. The deodorants that you put under your arm that are not natural, and this also applies to the stone that has been very misrepresented. It's a form of aluminum. They use aluminum to stop your glands from sweating. But we want to sweat because that's how the body detoxifies. God didn't make these armpits just to give you a hard time in a silk dress, right? There's a reason. We want to detox. The lymphatic system that we see under the arm, that is where we drain our sinuses, our dental, our thyroid, these lymph, our breasts all go here. You don't want to clog that sink up, and you don't want to put aluminum, a heavy metal that has absolutely no function in the human body, nothing. You know, some metals have a function, no function whatsoever, and may be in the past thought to be linked maybe to Alzheimer's disease. Now Alzheimer's is looking kind of like a brain diabetes inflammation thing, but we don't need to put these excess toxic minerals. So you get a clean deodorant that uses baking soda or a probiotic or a colloidal silver or arrowroot to absorb the wet. And then listen, if it's a wedding and you're wearing a silk dress and you have to wear secret one time in 10 years, okay, you get a pass. But it's not an everyday thing. We have people when they go hiking alone, those are probably the same people that wear a mask when they're in the middle of nowhere by themselves. I don't like to sweat, I smell. Well, if you smell, you're toxic. You should be sweating, just sweat. Here, so let it out, go in the sauna, sweat yourself out and open up your lymphatics for your whole immune system and your breast health. I know I kind of got off track.
No.
Where were we?
So we were talking about deodorant. I'm just kidding. So
Yeah.
So essentially, like everything that was said right now, guys. Again, my understanding is use clean products. Avoid things that are not organic. Sometimes I've heard people that don't understand the passion for organic saying, oh, you eat that healthy stuff, that organic stuff. It's like, well, do you realize all you're saying is, can I buy something or eat something that doesn't have pesticides and chemicals?
And GMO.
Right. So
because that's very dangerous. That interferes with your microbiome. It's made to kill bugs, and our guts, which are the core of our health, have bugs. Organic food is what your grandparents ate.
Yeah.
It's called food. It's called food.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I have a question now. Like, I'm sure everybody who's watching, they're like, these are really, really great tips. Don't drink out of a plastic bottle, right? We talked about that.
These are all inexpensive things. Listen, I know people are on a budget. Not everybody can go to Whole Foods. Look at the Dirty Dozen. They have organic sections everywhere, and the farmers market. Let's support our local farmers. There's farmers markets everywhere. Even if they're not certified organic, talk to them. Sometimes it's too expensive for them to get that certification. But if you, let's say you're very limited in your funds, then you don't want to buy all these fancy things, then go to Costco and get a big thing of coconut oil and maybe get a nice lavender essential oil organic and make your own hair conditioner, your own body lotions. There's so much stuff on the internet, how to make your own products that you really don't have to spend a lot of money. And Costco really is crazy full of organic stuff now.
So if I wanted to, or anybody here wanted to get a little bit more information, or they wanted to say, okay, where can I get one of these? Because we have people here in the LA County, but Orange County, San Bernardino County, but somebody might be watching, out of Texas or something like that. Locally here in Southern California, you have multiple offices, Dr. Hillary?
We do. We have our Sherman Oaks office, we have a Santa Monica office, and we have another tech who is in Redlands. And I do travel to Palm Desert every couple months. During COVID, none of the Canadians who fill the desert in the summer were there. And
I travel too. I go up to, we have satellite offices up in Valencia and out in Westlake Village.
and Mara goes there pretty regularly.
Yeah, so I stand here in Sherman Oaks, Valencia, Westlake.
And
And Downey.
yeah, we do have something that I wanted to let you guys know.
And the other thing I was going to say, people can email us info@pictureinside.com. Something that's really beautiful about this system is that our interp doctors, they are a part of a database that's international. So only 1/3 of our patients have moved out of California. So we're able to hook them up with people. So if you're watching this and you're out of state, email us and we'll try to find you somebody that we know uses a good camera, uses good interpretation in your area. We're happy to help you with that.
Awesome. And we do have something special. We are coming out. I'm not sure the date yet, but here in the next 30 days, we're gonna have a location here in Downey. They're actually gonna bring all their equipment and we're gonna host it at our office. Yep, she's coming with us. Vanna's coming as well. But the reason we're doing this is it's because I have done this before for my staff, and I said, hey, you're gonna be out here, and I can invite other people to come in. I know it's not real estate related or any of that stuff. It's just health and women related. And so I just wanted to be able to extend that. And I figured, well, you guys are a little bit of a distance for me, and you guys could come out, make it really easy, really convenient. And if not, you guys can schedule with them directly.
They can come here, but everybody at your office was so nice. It was such a beautiful office. And it is real estate related, because if you don't have your health, you have nothing. It doesn't matter what you have. I mean, people would give up everything, all their property, to get their health back. So it's sometimes we don't appreciate what we have until we lose it or we're in threat of losing it. So your health permeates every single thing. So we appreciate you so much, Rosie, and you're a role model for women and everybody, right?
Thank you. That's so nice.
And again, when I came out there, your staff, everybody out there, they're so nice. And you're right around the corner from the original McDonald's.
Right. You know what?
Oh, don't eat McDonald's.
I'll say that everybody was really, impressed with what you guys did, and they were also like, they were super grateful. They're like, wow, that was really good. Rosie, thank you for having this out, and it was very, very insightful. They felt good about it. Every time I see you guys, I feel good about it. So it's not way out there, guys. There's a little bit of a cost involved, of course, right? Because it is a technology. But I agree with you 100%.
And I want to remind everybody, the first time you come twice to get part 1 and 2 of your thermal fingerprint. So there will be a follow-up in 3 months, and then it's annual. This is so cheap. I know what you think. I think that you think that this costs $1,000, right? We have never raised our prices, although everything else has gone up, and we may be raising our prices soon because we are going to have to do it. But for right now, it's only $225. I mean, people spend that on sushi.
They spend that on gas right now for a week.
You spend that on gas, but people have handbags that cost 10 times that much, and that never saved their life. The follow-up is $200, but you can prepay and save $50. This is so incredibly affordable. No, insurance doesn't pay for it because insurance pays for nothing in health, only for disease. But we have found that most health savings plans do cover it. So if people have that, we're happy to take their health savings card. So yeah, this is a small investment in your health.
Well, like you said, you can either like the, what,
Pay now or pay later.
pay now or pay later, right? And I'm about the whole pay now thing. And
Yeah.
so, you know, when a lot of us, unfortunately, I'm sure that some of us out there had a little bit of a health scare when, you know, with COVID and all of a sudden, you know, I had some good friends that like, this is really, really scary. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. And of course, some people out there didn't make it. So I say that only because it just seems like we wait until things are critical. And I just really want to encourage everybody out there. This is not a hot, sexy topic. You know, we're like, oh, do this and all that stuff, you know, but it's so important. It's so important. So I just want to encourage you guys out there that are listening, that are going to watch this, you know, be proactive, find someone local to you. If you're local to, you know, Southern California, come out. I've been with, I only speak of things that I personally have experienced, and I've experienced such a great experience here with Hillary and Nora. And so the pictureinside.com, is that what it's called?
Yes, that's our website.
A
And
picture,
yeah, pictureinside.com. And they can email us at info@pictureinside.com. We also have a lot on our website. And if you look at the FAQs, you can see pictures. I have written everything that's on that website. So please read that to learn more. I am an expert in thermography. Thermography is not well regulated. I want to say that right now. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to have a medical camera. You don't have to use medical doctors that are certified thermologists to call yourself a thermographer. So buyer beware. And that's why we would rather refer you somewhere. So sometimes people see something on another website and then they'll say, well, I saw that I don't have to have a colonoscopy because the thermography will see the polyp. No, 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 no. So please just read my website. Start there, because I have vetted everything that's there. And we turn people away every day because we don't want anyone to have an unrealistic expectation of thermography. Do the thermography, but you may have to do some other follow-ups. That's how we stay healthy.
that's awesome. I know we might have a couple of questions. Is there anybody who has a question before we wrap up? We have a couple minutes. Any questions at all? Going once, going twice. I think you covered just about everything. Again, this is on the heels of Happy Mother's Day, and
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that are out there. This is kind of like an indirect my gift to you, bringing you someone like Dr. Hillary Smith, who has also given you a gift and a little bit of education, and then just a resource so that you guys can take advantage of and or pass along. There's no age restriction. My daughter has already messaged me, and she's, you know,
We actually start at 30 years old.
Oh, at 30. Okay.
We have scanned young. I can make a clinical decision to scan someone younger. The reason that we start at 30 is because the younger ones, their hormones change so much that it's hard to get a stable baseline. So if somebody has a lump or they have an issue, we'll do it, but we're not really trying to build a baseline on them. We also are following a lot of people that are doing natural cancer treatments or who have had cancer, that they just want to keep an eye on themselves. But basically, and we're doing a lot of dental, like a lot of head and neck. People can do an upper body where we look and see if maybe there's a little something under an old root canal or a crown. These are very important things to find out now and not later.
So we had one comment. I do want to say we're kind of at the top here at 12:45. We don't want to keep Dr. Hillary any longer. This recording will be up on my page as a recording. You can go in there if you want to request a copy. Megan, my assistant's on here too, and she'll go ahead and send it to you. Natalie, I got you. Just put your email. That would be great. But pass it along. Have a wonderful Mother's Day. Thank you, Dr. Hillary Smith.
Happy Mother's Day.
Keep the girls healthy. So
yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.